suicide, I ain't ever gonna die. I'm a locked and loaded gun. When the matches strike and the gasoline lights, it's only just begun. One thing I learned is you could watch it all burn, but the flame ain't ever done. Raise 'em up a little higher. Your lighters, outlaws and outsiders.
Some call me a renegade, the enemy. Throw your hands up if you feel the same. Oh, living life at the edge. Just say what you wanna say, or walk away. I stand tall when there's hell to pay. Ain't no power higher. We're the outlaws and outsiders. I was born in the dark with a fearless heart and a taste for the other side.
Hello everybody, and welcome to tonight's edition of The Current View on DAMC TV, your independent source for trucking news. I'm your host, Chris Bikerson. Tonight's episode is entitled Deja Vu. Do you feel like you've seen some of these recent events before? Let's talk about it. 16 days ago, on March 12th, I talked about how crazy it would have sounded if I had predicted the previous 10 days, and back then was pretty tame. Just a few school closings, sporting events canceled, major public events, races, things like that, stadium size events. And then after that, 10 days ago, I did another episode. It was only 6 days after I had done that episode, and I talked about how much had changed. We had seen the banning of large public gatherings, meaning like your stadium size events, go down to 50 people. Then we saw 50 people go down to 10. No more than 10 people in one public place at a time, which wasn't too far off what I'd originally predicted. Everybody thought I was crazy when I said, well, you know what? What if these no large public gatherings, what if that does become something smaller? And the number I used was 5 people. Of course, we're down to 10, and of course, people thought I was crazy at that time when I made some predictions. I predicted more quarantine zones. We had more quarantine zones. Then I started saying, well, what if they start taking these soft quarantine zones, where people are free to go, come and go as they please. I said, what if they turn those into hard quarantine zones, where now all of a sudden there's no one allowed out? And of course, I sounded crazy at that. To quote one of my friends, I won't name him, but to quote him, I was told I needed to loosen up the tinfoil hat just a little bit because it was cutting off the blood flow to my head. Okay. So let's talk about it. Now, another 10 days after that show, where are we? Well, in Rhode Island, we now have National Guard and state police running checkpoints at the state line. They're specifically looking for people from New York. I'm assuming if they're intercepting them at the checkpoints, they're probably turning them around and sending them back out of the state. They're also going door to door. Now, for the time being, the door-to-door campaign, looking for these New Yorkers in their state, for the time, if they locate them, they're asking them to quarantine in place. But there's talk of possible hard zones coming up. The switch to hard containment areas, quarantine zones, as I had talked about previously, in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. By that meaning, people are no longer free to come and go out of those quarantine zones. Now, just to give you an idea how fast things are changing, since I prepared the script for this show, Trump has come out and said that no, he's not going to do that. I literally got that update just a few minutes before I started recording this show. But nonetheless, it's not like we haven't seen Trump reverse course on one of his previous statements regarding what he's going to do or not going to do in this crisis. So again, let's talk about the fact that he may be saying today, well, I'm not going to do that. Tomorrow, day after that, next week, he may change his position. He may come back and say, I mean, the scary part is it is at least being talked about legitimately, seriously. It's no longer a crazy conspiracy theory. In Tennessee, the state line of Tennessee and North Carolina, along North Carolina Highway 143, you now have concrete barriers going across the road. Tennessee has told people to stay out, basically. They don't want tourists coming to their state. And, well, in at least one road, we've got concrete barriers now to keep people from driving in. We're beginning to see police enforcement of lockdown orders. My hometown, where I live, in McHenry, Illinois, recently made national headlines in the Huffington Post when local police started serving cease and desist orders on a couple of local businesses that deemed themselves essential. And, well, one of them was Jo-Ann Fabrics. A lot of people were actually going to the fabric shop to buy fabric to make their own mask, their own face mask, since they're so hard to purchase now. Which is why Jo-Ann Fabrics was considering themselves to be essential, because people were using it, using their fabrics to construct their own mask. But irregardless, previously we'd seen no real hard enforcement of these lockdown orders. Now we're seeing that, which I don't think comes as any surprise. You know, but something to think about here, and this is where kind of the deja vu comes in. Now I want you to imagine here that New Yorkers have been branded pretty much as just being infected. They got such a problem over there that pretty much if you're from New York, if you got New York license plates on your car, New York driver's license, whatever, they pretty much consider you to be a New Yorker and a potential hazard. As far as they're concerned, you've got the virus. And so, in Rhode Island, and I'm assuming this might get replicated in other surrounding states, you've got National Guard and state police looking for these people. Now, what if New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut were to become actual hard containment zones where people were being told not to leave? Now you've got house-to-house searches, looking for a certain group of people to send them back to their containment area, back to their detention area. Have we seen that before? Let's think about that. Have we ever in history, have we ever seen armed military going house to house looking for a certain group of people to send them back to their detainment area? Yeah, of course we have. Once they start that hard containment zone, if they do, again, I'm very hopeful that this won't come in effect, since Trump did come out and say he wasn't going to go through with that. But again, if he flip-flops, as he has many times in the past, if he reverses his stance and starts doing those lockdown orders there, hard lockdown orders, are we going to start seeing that replicated in the other states? Like we have everything else to this point. You now have restaurants refusing dine-in service in states where they haven't even had a COVID case. So, are we going to see other things spread as well? You know what? It's a scary thing. Because here's what I want you to stop and consider. Currently, when we look at the numbers, we are at about 10% of the total as far as deaths and infections of the swine flu, the H1N1 virus of 2009, which worldwide, and this is coming from the CDC, was approximately 61 million cases worldwide, resulting in 284,000 deaths. We're at about 10% of that, a little above 10% right now, last I checked the numbers, which has been a few hours ago. So you have to question the response that you're seeing worldwide. You have to ask what's going on. It's very strange. 2 plus 2 is not equaling 4 right now. And anybody who's really paying attention and analyzing this situation, we're all coming up with the same train of thought that something's not right here. Something doesn't add up. There's something we're not being told. We just don't know what it is we're not being told. Something else is kind of intriguing now is we're beginning to see the anti-gun legislation pop up in the midst of this crisis. Out in Pennsylvania, you've got House Bill 2344. It looks like I just lost my blue lights. All right. House Bill 2344. It's going to make people in Pennsylvania have to get a permit in order to purchase ammunition. Those ammunition purchases will be tracked. I won't say no online orders. They can order ammunition online, however, it does have to go to a federal firearms licensed dealer. In order for them to pick it up, it can't just be sent to their house. Again, that is, of course, so that they can track the ammunition purchases, which you have to question. Why are they so interested in how much ammo you're buying? Obviously, they want to keep track of who's well stocked for something that may come down the line. No out-of-state purchases. So if you're not a resident of Pennsylvania, you cannot purchase ammunition in Pennsylvania. Why push gun control at a time like this? The current situation is driving most of the middle class into bankruptcy, as well as the poor. People are running out of food. They're already out of money, a lot of them. Tensions are high, anxiety levels are up, and creating additional travel restrictions is making it worse. People are starting to feel caged. They're caged, they're tense, they're anxious. They're going broke. They're already broke. The food supplies are running low. One of the professors at my college that I attended made a statement that's always kind of stuck with me. He said, revolutions happen when people are starving. And if you look at that and if you analyze that statement historically, you realize how true it is. Revolutions happen when people are starving. Well, right now, we've got the perfect recipe for collapsing the economy. We've got the perfect recipe for turning everyone into penniless, broke people, not even capable of buying food. We're setting the perfect stage for people to be starving in the very near future. So, home defense may be something that's going to be very, very necessary in the near future. Why are we trying to limit ammo purchases right now? What are we going to do when the mobs are out there on the streets? When home invasions become a regular thing? Of course, I'm assuming martial law would be the answer, which is only going to push the panic level higher and make things worse. And so, folks, I'm not telling you how to think. I'm not here to tell you how to think. I'm here to hopefully inspire you to do some thinking on your own, some independent, critical thinking. Stop buying what the media is selling you. Stop letting them program your brain. Stop just being someone who repeats whatever it is that the mainstream media wants to sell you that day. Look around you. Look at what's going on. Look at history. Come up with a plan. As always, I look forward to the next broadcast, and I will see you there. 10-4.